Khawateen Hazrat, Assalamu alaikum, very good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for this media briefing devoted to the 30th anniversary of the Visegrad Group, V4. It is a great honor for me to be hosting this meeting as it occurs during Poland's sixth presidency of the group. All the more so as it is attended by Ambassador of Hungary to Pakistan, Chargé d'Affaires, Deputy Head of Mission of Czech Republic, and also the Slovak ambassador resident in Tehran is sharing our feeling of celebration, non-resident in Islamabad. Today we are celebrating 30 years of Visegrad cooperation. As the President of Poland, Mr. Andrzej Duda, said at the meeting of the V4 heads of states on this occasion, if we look at the last 3 decades which have passed since the fall of communism in our countries, the fall initiated by the Polish Solidarity movement, we can see that they not only feature great economic and political success, but also a breakthrough progress in terms of human and social development. We can safely say that not often such a profound transformation can be observed anywhere in the world, proceeding in such a short time. Starting from the meeting of the Presidents of Poland, Czechoslovakia at that time, and the Prime Minister of Hungary 30 years ago, on 15th February 1991, at Visegrad Castle of Hungary, our states and nations have undergone a fundamental generational change in the historical, political, economic, and social sense. We have belonged, and still we do, to a common cultural and ideological circle, and a circle of shared memory, including the memory of dramatic events of the 20th century and the evil of the 2 totalitarian regimes. At this juncture, the cooperation initiated in 1991 aimed at creating a platform for political dialogue in order to coordinate our country's efforts to become members of the North Atlantic Alliance and the European Union. We have achieved this goal, taking part in the integration processes of Europe and the Western world. We have also proved our utility in the broader European and transatlantic contexts. The group is an important catalyst for regional cooperation all across Central Europe, but also a significant contributor to cooperation within the EU and NATO fold. On many occasions, have we demonstrated that as Visegrad countries, we can cooperate effectively with a view of promoting our countries and the region as a whole. We consistently express our support for the idea of European unity and solidarity, and we advocate a Europe of equal states of free nations. The Visegrad Group has been systematically enhancing its support and cooperation with Eastern Partnership and Western Balkans countries, including through the International Visegrad Fund. Our Visegrad cooperation has produced tangible effects on other levels of regional cooperation, as it is evident in the Bucharest 9 format, which consists of NATO countries located along the eastern flank, and the 3 Seas initiative, launched in 2015. Its main objective is to improve transport, energy, and new technology infrastructure in our region along the north-south axis, thus boosting development of our countries and improving the cohesion of the European Union. Now in 2 days, on 17th of February, the heads of government of our countries will meet in Krakow, the old capital of Poland, to celebrate the anniversary of Visegrad cooperation, joined by the representatives of the European Union institutions. They will also discuss the most important elements of the current EU agenda. We share many views on it, and we have a potential to build a coalition of common interests so that the voice of Central Europe can resonate in discussions on the EU forum. Just as a new decade of the 21st century is opening before us, we also embark on a new decade of our Visegrad cooperation. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and its socio-economic repercussions, the time ahead holds some measure of uncertainty, but equally of hope and opportunity. When the pandemic is over, and it will certainly be over, we will be confronted with a new challenge: to secure human and economic recovery from our countries, for our region, and ultimately for our world. We should spare no efforts to make it a world based on equitable rules of coexistence of free, independent states and equal nations, a world committed to sustainable development and providing a safe and healthy future for all. And to our Pakistani friends, I say, when you hear about V4, just think about 4 beautiful countries located in the heart of Europe, and we will welcome you with pleasure. I just expressed the feelings that the future, the optimism about future, which is in our area, and also we are sharing with our Pakistani friends and brothers, that when pandemic is over, the new era of our cooperation will start, and we are inviting Pakistani businessmen, investment, students, tourists to V4 countries. And with this feeling of optimism, I would like to quote Allama Iqbal, क्योंकि मैं अपने दिल में कुछ ना कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ. The share for this feeling of optimism. सूरज ने दिया अपनी शुआओं को ये पैगाम, दुनिया है अजब चीज़, कभी सुबह कभी शाम. Thank you very much, and I would invite also my friends to share for this occasion, Ambassador of Hungary.
Thank you very much for these introductory remarks. It was, it contained so many ideas and historic background that it's really very difficult to add anything to that. Let me just speak very briefly about the historic background of the Visegrad cooperation. Why Visegrad? So, where is this name coming from? Yes, it's true that the V4 grouping of countries was established on the 15th of February 1991. But the first ever Visegrad summit took place in 1335. That was in Visegrad, with the participation of the 3 heads of states, at that time the kings. John I of Bohemia, or today the Czech Republic, Charles I of Hungary, and was it Kazimierz III of Poland. So these 3 kings came together and held the first ever summit in Visegrad in Central Europe. Why? Because they have realized that only together, these countries can only together cooperate, and it's easier. Actually, what was the main agenda? What was the main agenda in 1335, nearly seven centuries ago? I tell you, nearly the same as today. Because that alliance of the 3 kings in Visegrad in 1335 was formed to bypass, to make the trade with other parts of Europe easier. They made the alliance to bypass Vienna and to have a better access to the markets in Europe. And nearly 100 years later, in 1992, the Visegrad leaders, they set up the Central European Free Trade Agreement, which is a good proof that history didn't change as fast as we expected. Let me just tell you something else. I think that to some extent, the foundation of every regional groupings are dictated by geopolitical reasons. And this was the case, the same case with the Visegrad Four as well. If you look at the map, these 4 countries, they are in Central Europe. They are in Central Europe. Central Europe is a vast area on the map of Europe in between East and West. East, which was always dominated by Russia, then later on Soviet Union, and now Russia again. And the West, which was always dominated by Germany. So between these two strong powers, there are the smaller countries of Central Europe. These 4 countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, naturally, they share very similar historic experiences. They share the same values. They share a very strong and very rich Christian heritage and cultural heritage, and they would like to preserve this very rich heritage today. So it was quite natural. It was quite natural in 1991 that these countries set up the goal of joining the EU and the NATO as soon as possible. And we achieved these goals, and which actually does not mean that Visegrad 4 has no any relevance further. Of course, it has relevance now and in the future as well. That's what I wanted to say as my brief remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I invite, and on pen drive, very detailed about all the information on economy, politics, and other features of this area. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. This is Zargun Shah from Geo Television. As in your remarks, you said you will be welcoming visitors from Pakistan. So my question to all of you is do you have a unanimous visa policy for the foreign visitors, especially the Pakistanis, including the students? Thank you.
Yes, as you know, Poland, Hungary, and the Czech and Slovak Republic, they belong to Schengen Group visa area, and we are trying within all this framework to be as friendly as possible. The time of pandemic has really affected our contacts in the significant way. We hope that after this time is over, we can re-establish our normal, lively cooperation. The universities in Poland are ready to receive Pakistani students. We are also open for Pakistan businessmen investment. Recently, our statistics were showing a significant growth till 2018 and 19 inclusive. We had Poland-Pakistan turnover on the level of €500 million. And unfortunately, last year was less, but less only in terms of Polish exports to Pakistan. The Pakistani exports to Poland are still significant. It is 2/3 of the whole amount. 90% of it is textiles. So we hope also for further diversification of this turnover. And I think Poland is a great attractive country for tourism as well. So we do hope that within things coming back to normal, our cooperation will grow further.
Yes, if I may add something to that. To remind you that since 2015, when the Hungarian government has announced that Hungary is ready to provide scholarships for Pakistani students, now, I mean, at the beginning in 2015, it was 80 places, and now we are providing 200 scholarships for young Pakistani students. And the program is very popular in this country. Let me remind you that the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan has organized an entrance exams for the Hungarian scholarships 2 weeks ago in all cities of Pakistan, with the participation of more than 9,000 applicants. I repeat, more than 9,000 applicants for 200 places, which is a good example how popular the Hungarian scholarship is. So 50 times more than we can accept. One more thing. So it is, I mean, this program is going on since 2015, which means that the first bunch of students have finished already their studies in Hungary. So now what we are working on is to set up an alumni organization for those Pakistani students who finished their studies in Hungary. They came back to the country already, and we would like to see them to continue their activity in the favor of both countries, Pakistan and Hungary, because they have a very wide range of network back in Hungary. They are eager to start to work here in Pakistan. So if we combine these two things, this alumni organization can do a lot for further enhancement of our bilateral relations.
Yes, about the student visa. The Czech Republic has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the foreigners are banned from entry, but students are an exemption, have an exemption, and we are still receiving visa applications and processing them, and Pakistani students are leaving to study in the Czech Republic.
Yes, please.
Bair Qureshi from Pakistan Observer. Since you have gained the achievements of and the purpose of Visegrad, you know, because it was joining NATO, and it was also in the post-communism era, you had made your alliance. So what is the rationale to still existing this Visegrad when you have joined European Union, and European Union is now one body that represents all the European states. So what is the rationale behind this? Maybe you.
From Hungarian ambassador mentioned before, this is Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovak Republic belong to the one area which has a shared history of historic experience, especially at 20th century of the cruel wars and autocratic regimes. So this is a specific cultural bound of history which unites us, and I think within the EU we can also promote our specific geopolitical interests as well. There is no contradiction between the rest of the EU and the group of Visegrad, because all the issues are naturally resolved in the EU in the negotiated process. And as we can see, our cooperation helps a lot in especially pointing out at the important economic, political matters in our area of Europe, not only Central Europe, but also Eastern Partnership is also a testimony to it, West Balkan cooperation as well. And also, I feel it is very significant that we are undergoing this great development of our part of Europe, which was cut by the Iron Curtain for nearly 5 decades, and also in terms of connectivity that we are now building through the Central, Southern Europe, the new roads, new pipelines, and the networks for infrastructure, which is an extraordinary, very important to us as well. I can see from my experience of these 30 years in Poland, our country looks completely different today. The progress that we have achieved in last 30 years is unmatched in our history. So the European membership, our European membership, is the most significant decision that we took for the generations ahead. And as I said, problems are resolved in family in a natural way by discussing, by negotiating. There is no thing like trying to make us, separated. This next 17th of February meeting by the heads of governments will be also attended by the representatives of the EU. And I'm sure that the one voice will come to the world with one message, that we are united. Thank you very much.
Just, yes, if I may add just 2 sentences. Let me remind you that the Visegrad Group is not the first and not the only regional grouping within the EU. The Benelux countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, it is an existing regional grouping which was set up before the EU was formed. And it did not cease to exist after joining the EU. Let me remind you that the Nordic Council, with 5 member states, has 3 EU members within its roles. So I want to say that regional groupings, that these groupings, they are based on geographical closeness, shared interest. So they have a particular reason of being there. And these particular groupings, they represent particular interest within the EU. So I can't see any problem with that.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Believe that the Visegrad Cooperation can serve as a framework or as a way forward for Pakistan for enhanced regional stability and cooperation to work out issues within the region so that things can prosper. Do you believe that this can serve as a framework for the way forward for Pakistan itself?
Well, we should remember that Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland. So, and now it's unthinkable, totally unthinkable, not only because our membership in the EU, but because of the developments that the ambassadors described. So in this sense, it could be seen as a good example and an excellent framework for other regions like South Asia, for instance.
There are frameworks in which V4 is cooperating also with our Asian partners. And more advanced, I have seen the V4 plus Japan. V4 plus Pakistan, I wish that we could also start in this forum because of the relevance of our unique proposal of Central European countries. And that is the thing that we are going to probably propose also to our forum. Very much relevant.
Bit similar cooperation with China at the moment. CPEC is underway. Do you think that all 4 countries of V4, they can play some role in CPEC as well? Because the second phase of CPEC is ongoing, and plenty of projects are there which need expertise from other countries. Thank you.
Yes, very much so. The message that we are getting from Pakistan government is that Pakistan is open for such cooperation. Not only Chinese investment, but also the investment from our countries. We are right now working on some projects that are related to infrastructure. Also, for the last more than 20 years, in Pakistan, Polish oil and gas company is represented and working successfully in Sindh province, producing gas for the local network. Energy is definitely one of the areas in which we can be working together. Polish food processing industry as well, that it is very much needed here in Pakistan. And the other is the area of infrastructure, not yet advanced, but very much promising. So yes, I do confirm this is an area of very good cooperation in future.
Yes, and if I may add to that well, the CPEC is the flagship project of the Belt and Road Chinese initiative in this country. But our countries, they have also joined the Belt and Road project. So we are also there. But of course, we can discuss about the participation of our countries in the CPEC. I can't see any problem to that. And I think that in the near future, we will start to think about that, yes.
So if there are any questions? Yes, please.
Again, Anwar Abbas from Bol News. I just want to know that Kashmir is a burning issue between India and Pakistan. Where do we 4 countries stand, and can you play any role in offering some kind of mediation between India and Pakistan? Because both are nuclear powers and they are on the verge of nuclear clash if any misadventure from any side takes place. Thank you.
For a mediation, you know that this is necessary to have the both parties agreed for that. The European Union has a very very solid standing on the human rights issues, and on this level, if you remember the meetings in the European Parliament and also in Brussels Commission, this issue is very always raised up. And our history in Poland is a testimony to the solution of the problems, even if they are long-term. As you remember, Poland was even erased from the political map of Europe for 123 years, was not existing, partitioned by the foreign occupants, and still in 1918 regained its independence because this is the will of the people. Yes, madam, please.
Sir, I would need some details when it comes to bilateral ties of Pakistan. I'm Sumaira Khan from Indus News. Can you just elaborate upon the existing trade and economic ties between Pakistan and the particular group of 4? And if it's not that enhanced right now, so what are your plans to enhance the ties in terms of trade and economy between Pakistan and the group, V group? Thank you so much.
May I start? During my tenure in Islamabad, we have enhanced our bilateral agreements. One of them, very significant, is on cooperation between the State Bank of Pakistan and National Bank of Poland on the new banking. The other, we have also, there is no bilateral special trade agreement, as the bilateral trade with Europe is covered by the European agreements, most significantly the GSP Plus arrangement, which allows Pakistan exports to be granted as privileged status. And this is a cooperation which is very significant as well. Poland is is a country which lies just in the heart of Europe. Geographically speaking, we are located on the center between north, south, east, and west. If you draw the line, it will be near to Łódź city. Łódź is a city of textiles, and Pakistan exports 90% to Poland, and I think it's true also to a large extent to other European countries. It consists of textiles. So we offer to be a hub for Pakistan exports, as it is also convenient to use transportation in all directions from this central located place. And the trade may be also more diversified. This is our role here as economic diplomacy, because just to focus on textiles is not enough. There is also a big scope of leather products which are exported to Poland and Europe, sportswear, surgical instruments, and as I said, when the problem of pandemic will be over, we will have more contacts and more opportunities in this regard.
If I may say just a few words, the first Hungarian company which invested in this country was the MOL company, the MOL, in the oil and gas sector of this country. They are still very active, they are here. Of course, we expected that others will follow their example, but the problem is that for normally foreign investors, they need two things. Security and security. Physical security and legal security. The physical security is okay. There's no problem in this country. Believe me, I know, because I was here in this country 15 years ago. This is my second posting here. And I can really see the difference. It is a safe country. There's no question. The other question is the legal security. What our investors, they need is a BIT, Bilateral Investment Treaty. So we should sign a bilateral investment treaty to provide legal security for our investors. We are working on it now, and we would like to see to be signed this treaty as soon as we can. So yes, Hungarian investors would be very happy to come. Although I should admit one more thing, you can also do your homework to sell this country with a good image to the outside world, just to eliminate those old stereotypes which, well, to some extent, still dominate the general view of this country around the world. And that's your job. Of course you can have a lot, and we are more than happy to have, but we should do it together.
So if there are no further, I spent also 12 years in Pakistan, so we are part of the family. So we would like to invite you all, celebrate with us, make trade and friendship, and invite you to V4 countries, Central Europe. Thank you very much indeed. Yes.
Can you update?
Yes.
What is the recent position? Are they there, or they are expected to come there?
You mean K2?
K2.
Our Himalayan climbers? Well, this is a very, I know it is beyond the scope of this conference, but when you perceive Pakistan, when you ask what's the image of Pakistan in Poland, one of the first answers will be beautiful mountains, because our climbers excelled here in winter conditions and coming to climb to the eight thunderers for many years now, we made a very special also achievement of our sports. So Polish climbers are also bringing the best message of Pakistan globally. And as you know, many of them already excelled. We are still, will be coming on K2 very soon, and Karakoram Highway as well, in which we have also a very historic chapter of Polish traveler in 19th century who came to visit these places. So Pakistan is associated with beautiful mountains, brave people, and that's how we perceive Pakistan. Thank you very much indeed.